Well, hello. Welcome to Nick's house. Gatsby sent over some flowers. So we're going to visit, kind of look in on Nick, even though, he doesn't know we are, but we're going to do that anyway. Today, Nick was on a date with Jordan, and he came home and he was walking up to his house, and there was Gatsby. He'd walked across the lawn and startled Nick. And Nick goes, "Oh my gosh, Gatsby, what are you doing here?" And Gatsby says, "Well, old sport, I just came over to see if you'd want to go to Coney Island with me tonight. We could go have some fun. Or maybe you want to come for a swim in my pool? How about that? Or maybe you want to earn a little extra money as a beginning bond salesman. I bet you could use a little extra money, couldn't you? Wouldn't have anything to do with Wolfsheim. Don't worry." Well, Nick's sitting there thinking, well, what is Gatsby? Oh, I see. He's trying to kind of pay me for what I'm doing with Daisy there, having her over and all that. And he says, "Gatsby, I'll have her over. I'll have Daisy over. You don't have to do anything for me. What are friends for, right?" So Gatsby says, "Oh, you do that for me, old sport?" And Nick says, "Sure." And Gatsby says, "Well, good. The lawn needs cutting, though, Nick. We'll have to." And Nick goes, "You mean my lawn needs cutting?" And Gatsby says, "Well, yeah." So it becomes the next day, turns into the next day, and there we are at Nick's house, and again the flowers are there, and we've got tea. Okay, love that tea. Oh, there we go. Just got to taste it and make sure it's okay. Yep, good tea. We'll let Nick and Gatsby drink the tea. Everything's all set. Oh, hear it? It's raining out. Yeah, that's kind of symbolic. This is a romanticized novel, an example of romantic literature. And whenever we have that, authors put symbolism in there. And I know you're going to think, that's just in there. It's not a symbol. But yeah, I hate to tell you, it's probably a symbol. So it's raining out, and the weather sometimes reflects what's going on in the plot. So let's see, what could that rain represent? Could it be maybe that Gatsby is a little bit nervous and unsure and tentative about how everything's going to go today? And rain can kind of represent kind of a downer and not knowing how things are going to be and kind of bleak. Well, Gatsby comes over to Nick's house then in the rain and knocks on the door. And Nick says, "Oh, Gatsby, come on in. Daisy will be here in a little bit. Have a seat." And Gatsby paces around. He's nervous as all get out. He is worried how this is all going to go. He hasn't seen Daisy in a long time. What if she rejects him? So he goes out the door again. And Nick's going, what are you doing? And then another knock at the door, and Nick opens it. Oh, there's Daisy. Oh, Daisy. And he gives her a kiss on the cheek, and he thinks, okay. And then another knock, and it's Gatsby. And Gatsby had gone around the house and come back in. And so there the two of them are. Gatsby looks at Daisy, and Daisy at Gatsby. Oh my gosh. And Nick goes to introduce them, and she says, "We know each other." And both of them are so nervous and awestruck they don't know what to do. So it's very, very tense and nerve-wracking. And Gatsby's leaning on the mantle, and he knocks the clock off, and boom, the clock, he catches it, but it breaks, and he says, I'll fix it. And again, the clock stopping, breaking is symbolic. Time is very important in this book. And see, Gatsby wants time to go back and to stop to where he and Daisy were together and Tom wasn't in the picture. In Gatsby's mind, never was a Tom. He doesn't want Tom to even exist. So they're sitting there and they're very, very nervous. And Nick thinks, wow, this is too much for me. And he goes outside to have a smoke. And you can tell this takes place a long time ago because now we know that smoking is not good for us. Anyway, he's out there having his cigarette, and Daisy and Gatsby are in the house alone, and Nick comes in after a while, and there they are sitting there smiling at each other and talking and reminiscing. And Nick goes, well, that was a good move on my part. So the two of them are getting along, and Gatsby says, come on, let's go over to my house. I'll show you around. And Daisy goes out, and she says, wow, that's your house? And he says, yeah. And he takes her through there, and Nick says, you sure you want me to come? And sure, old sport, you come too. So they go in, and Clip Springer, the guest at Gatsby's house, who was there for a party and never left, is Gatsby tells him, play a song, Clip Springer, and Clip Springer's playing a song, and Gatsby takes Daisy all through the house and opens up all the rooms, and she's going, oh, wow, and he's trying to win her over with all his money and stuff, because we all know that you can buy love with money and stuff, right? Well, probably not the good kind of love, anyway. So they go up to Gatsby's room, and Gatsby says, oh, see here, this is my room, and see the scrapbook I keep of you, and there's all these newspaper clippings of Daisy there, and she's thinking, wow, he's kept track of me all this time. And I don't know, when I read it, I thought, wow, this is a little bit stalkish of him. But anyway, she looks at all his stuff, and he says, oh, look at my shirts, and he's throwing his shirts around the room. See my shirts. And Daisy looks at my shirts, and he says, oh, I have them made special by an English tailor. And she looks at him, and she goes, and she cries into his shirts. Okay, little melodramatic, but that's Daisy. She's that way. But you should think to yourself, why is she crying into those shirts? What's going on? Well, if you kind of think, okay, she's married to Tom now, and Tom's been unfaithful to her, and she knows that. She doesn't know all the details, but she knows he's been unfaithful to her throughout the years. And now here's Gatsby, who absolutely worships her, and now he's got all this money and stuff, and maybe she's crying over what could have been, what might have been. Maybe she's thinking she made a wrong choice. I don't know. Okay, so they're up there in Gatsby's room, and they're getting along, and Daisy's feeling good, and Gatsby's feeling good, and just a minute, I gotta make the rain stop here. Oh, and the rain stops. Because they're getting along. And the sun comes out. Remember the symbolic weather? Okay? And there's a pink cloud in the sky, and Daisy says, oh, look at that little pink cloud. I wish I could put you in that, Gatsby, and push you around the sky. Okay, she's a Southern belle, and she talks like that. And she's telling Gatsby in so many words that she still cares about him. And he cares about her, and they go downstairs, and they're sitting there talking. And Nick notices Gatsby, how he's looking at her, almost like he's frightened. And Nick thinks, wow, this must be something for him. 5 years he's put her on a pedestal and dreamed up this stuff in his mind of what she's like, and decked her out in all these bells and whistles of, oh, Daisy this and Daisy that, and totally worshipped her and imagined what it's going to be like when he's with her. Now, when you put 5 years into that, is there any way that person is ever going to live up to what you have done with them, like Gatsby has done with her? Okay, I kind of liken it to prom, and I don't want to rub salt in the wound. I know you're not going to have a prom this year, and that's really, really too bad. I'm sorry about that. But it is kind of like it, because I think in September, at least having taught juniors for quite a while, I hear the girls talking about, oh, I'm going to get this dress, I'm going to get that dress, and showing pictures of each other's dresses. And, oh, we're going to go here to eat, we're going to go there to eat, and then we're going to do this. And there's all these plans. Even the guys are getting into it, like what they're going to do and who's going to go with who and all this kind of stuff. And when you start that soon, I mean, I understand why people do it. I did it when I was a junior, although I don't think we started quite that soon. But anyway, you put all that time and effort into planning and picture it in your mind how it's all going to be. Sometimes the actual event can't live up to all that planning you put into it. And that's kind of what's going on with Gatsby and Daisy. And Nick is sitting there looking at Gatsby almost in awe of Daisy, like he's almost afraid to touch her, like she might not be real. And Nick's kind of worried. He's thinking, maybe Gatsby's in for a big disappointment. And Nick, they're so enraptured with each other that Nick sneaks out and they don't even notice that he's gone. As a reader, you should be wondering what's going to come next. It's only halfway through the book, and we've kind of had this climax of Daisy and Gatsby meeting finally, and they seem to really care for each other. What's going to happen now? So, chapter 6, you're going to find out a lot of background information about Gatsby, and in chapter 7, somebody dies. Actually, more than one somebody. But don't tell Mrs. Sullivan I told you, okay? Yeah. So you're going to have to, read and find out, and I sure hope you're enjoying this book. Fitzgerald does a really good job of capturing the times and the people, and it's kind of a psychological examination of love and why people love and what goes into it too. And actually, it's a really good example of how not to love. But anyway, hope you're enjoying it, and we'll see you next time on Sue Talk. Ta-ta.